In this video, we're going to go over the newest features of the Coldtivate app, which include the opportunities for cooling users who have access to a smartphone to sign up on the Coldtivate app and to monitor the produce that they have in storage directly from the smartphones. In the welcome page, there is now a new option, which is to sign up as a cooling user. And this is, if you focus on the left side, what you see here in the bottom. For example, let's assume that Lisa is a farmer who has a smartphone and she's interested in using cold storage somewhere in Nigeria. She can go to the welcome page of the Coldtivate app and click on this button. She can input her phone number, her first name, her last name, the country, the language, gender, and her password, and then sign up. What this means is that she can now directly log in as a cooling user here by inputting her phone number and password. What she will see the first time that she's logging in is the tutorial. This is something that we have designed so that prospective cooling users better understand how to use the Coldtivate app, and are also informed about what are the main functionalities. In particular, the tutorial can be stopped at any time and can be viewed again by clicking on the menu and then tutorial. Next, Lisa will see a survey, and this is a survey that helps us as project practitioners to understand better what is the profile of Lisa. And in case uses cold storage, this helps also the cooling companies better understand the profile of the users that are storing in the room, and in particular, what is the impact that the project is having. What this means is that we're asking Lisa 3 simple questions. The first one is whether she's a farmer or a trader. Let's say she's a farmer, she has never used the cold room, and her main produce are apples. We are trying to estimate what is the post-harvest loss level that she's incurring in a normal season. And for example, we can assume that she's producing 100 kilos. Out of this, she consumes 5, she's selling 80, and 15, unfortunately, get lost without cold storage. An apple season usually has 4 months, and the price at which she's usually selling her produce, for example, could be something like 150 Naira per kg. We navigate to Naira here and then confirm. In case she has more commodities, she can add more down here, but I would just confirm for simplicity. Now, Lisa sees a dashboard, history, market price view, and cooling units very similar to what the operators and the registered employees already see in the Coldtivate. However, as you see here, she has nothing in storage yet, so there is nothing that she can actually see when she looks, for example, at the dashboard. One thing, however, that she can look at is by navigating to cooling units, she can see a map of where the cold rooms that have been using Coldtivate and are described as public are localized, which means that based on her location, she can then decide where to go to try out a new cold cooling unit for the first time. Now, let's see what happens from the operator's perspective, meaning if we now switch to the right side of the screen, let's see what an operator usually sees in Coldtivate. So if you, in this case, an operator that has been already registered can sign in by clicking on operator and then inputting his or her phone number, the password, and clicking on login. The operator now sees a list of cooling units he or she is assigned to, in this case, Leo. For example, we can switch this unit, and he's able to see in real time what are all the crops that have been stored inside. Now, let's imagine that Lisa goes to the cold room where Leo is the operator, and she wants to be registered in the app to store her first crates of apples. Leo, as an operator, can add different cooling users, and there are 2 ways of doing this. So first, by navigating to management cooling users, he can see the full list of cooling users, and by clicking on plus, 2 options now appear. The first option is to add a user with the details, which is the normal scenario in which the cooling user does not have a smartphone. For example, Let's assume that Lisa comes with a friend who has no smartphone. She's called Mercy, and she's a woman, and her phone number is, let's say, the following. I forgot something here. Then she can be signed up by the operator. The survey appears again, which we'll skip now for the sake of showing the next steps. And as you see here, Mercy CPU has been added to the list of cooling users. This is the first options for users who don't have a smartphone, which is the same as it was in the previous version of the Coldtivate app. However, now, if you click on the plus, in the scenario of Lisa, so a scenario in which a user has already been registered with a smartphone, the operator can add this type of user by clicking on Add User by Code. And the code that the operator needs is located in Lisa's account details. So going back to the left side of the screen where we see Lisa's screen, navigating to account details, you see that here there is a cooling user import code, which is what the operator can input to the right side to then register that cooling user as part of the user who are able to use the cold room, meaning for which a check-in can be started. You click on import, and by clicking on add, you will see now that Lisa has been added. And in particular, this sign here identifies the fact that this type of user has a smartphone. You see that there is already another one. All the others don't have a smartphone now. So what happens if we now do a check-in? So here, the operator can start a check-in by clicking on the button and check-in, select a user, for example, Lisa, confirming, selecting the cooling unit, selecting what are the crates. We know that Lisa is usually planning to bring to the cold room apple. And now, for example, we could imagine that she has 3 crates of apple to check in. And in particular, since this release, there is the opportunity for the operators to also specify additional information. For example, there might be green apples, which is something that we want to specify here. I add apples, 3 crates, 25 kilos each. And then the crop was harvested yesterday, for example, which is important to then understand what is the remaining quality of those crates of apples. Here you see a summary, and you can confirm price per day as well and confirm. Now, the 3 crates of apples are being added to the operator's view in the dashboard. In the same way, they will also be visible on Lisa's dashboard in a second. In the app, this happens automatically, but here, as we are on the desktop, let's just log out and log in again as Lisa, inputting a phone number, password, and what you see here is that now she has a company that she's already been, where she has been storing some crops in a given unit, and this is what she has in storage. And here, in case she's storing at the same time in multiple units, she can select different units here. Also, she will be able to see this in the history page, where you will now see a check-in done for her, and all the history of her transactions is going to be available here. In a similar way, if you navigate to cooling units now, not only you see the map, but you're also able to see the occupancy of the room where the crates are stored, which is helpful for the farmer to then decide whether there is still space to go to the room and do more check-ins. And in room conditions, she can monitor what is the temperature of the rooms where the produce is stored. And so this increases the transparency and the visibility for the farmers on where are the crates stored and making sure that all the conditions are good. One more thing is that in the dashboard here, you see that the color identifies the remaining shelf life, meaning how many days the produce is still going to be good for. And this is something that it's continuously updated as the temperature changes in the room. And when this can become yellow or red, and red means that there are only 2 days left, meaning that the farmers should come to pick up the produce. In the case of users who have a smartphone, a notification will appear here reminding them that they should come and pick up the produce. In the case of users who don't have a smartphone, they can, an SMS will be sent from the app to them so that they're also notified. Finally, I want to show that in the cooling user view, as for example, the one of Lisa, there is also access to the Knowledge Hub, which is a platform where the users can learn more about optimal storage conditions and how much can be gained by using cold storage as opposed to storing outside. There are also a list of extensive FAQs, which allow the users to understand better what are different features of the app, the tutorial, as we said, and also there is the opportunity for them to change language, which can be done in account details. We have added now a new language supported, which is Gujarati. So for now, there are 4 languages that are supported, and we're working to include more. On the side of the operators and the registered employees, we have also done an update of the tutorial to better reflect the changes that we've currently done and improve the language support throughout the app. With this, we hope that the users are going to be able, both from the company side and from the farmer side, to better leverage the benefit of cooling via digitalization.